And we are, we're crazy excited to have Ekuwah Mends Moses with us tonight and get to doodle and chat all about her fabulousness and all about her.
Oh.
All right, so I'm going to do a little introduction for you, Ekuwah. So she is an educator and author who develops and facilitates learning experiences for students, families, and educators. She started her education journey in the same state that I live in, Missouri, which I just found out she also grew up and lived in Missouri. So I'm really excited about that. And after graduation, Ekuwah moved to Las Vegas, where she currently resides, and she began her teaching career as a 5th grade teacher. Since then, she's earned her master's degree in teaching and learning. She's authored 2 books, My Name is an Address and Mama's Portraits in Me, The Legacy, Life, and Love of artist Carolyn Coffield Mends, and served as an instructional coach and program facilitator. Ekuwah loves to share about her family, history, culture, language, geography, and so much more. I am so excited to welcome her tonight to Doodle and Chat.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be with you, and I can't wait for this conversation.
We are super excited. We were talking before the camera started to roll. Ekuwah has done her homework. She knows about the bowl that knows. So she knows that means that Mandi and I have soaked up all about Ekuwah, and we have a bowl full of questions all about Ekuwah and some special ones. We hope that we've got some special little questions here that are surprises. And then, as always, we have a few questions in here that even Mandi and I don't even know what they are.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and we're also super excited tonight because Ekuwah is offering to give away a book for any of our friends who are here and doodle with us, and then share out on Twitter. We'll give more specific details at the end of the show for when Ekuwah will pick the winner of that book. But we're super excited to have a giveaway for this very special episode of Doodle and Chat with Friends.
Yay! Absolutely.
Yeah. And then, as always, we have Annabeth is here as our producer. She'll be pulling from the bowl and reading questions. And we encourage anybody who's here with us live to comment and chat along with us. It just adds to all kinds of fun that happens here on Doodle and Chat. I am so ready for this. Can we turn our cameras to? Can we turn the cameras on?
All right.
Oh, I love it.
Are we good? No, I think I have to turn off. You have to turn on. Okay. No. Hold on.
It's not Doodle and Chat without one technical difficulty.
There you go. It's still significantly less than normal.
Yeah.
We are still winning.
That's awesome.
All right, we ready for our first question?
Yes.
Here we go.
Finish this phrase. You might be a STEM teacher if blank.
Oh, you might be a STEM teacher if you have a box of cardboard rolls in your pantry waiting to take them to school.
Nice. Do not throw away the cardboard. I need it.
Exactly.
So very, very true.
Yes.
So I taught a class that it was kind of a STEM class. It's one of our math classes. And I was really excited because I got to help write it, but it was very hands-on. And one of our projects was building a tiny home. So I get the feeling because when it was time to build tiny homes, like I had boxes lined up by my door. I'm like, don't throw any of these away. I have to take them to school. So I understand what you're talking about.
Yes, we don't throw anything away. It's great to upcycle and reuse and repurpose, and it's a wonderful creative challenge to be like, what can I use this for? How can I make it exciting? And my new challenge is because I'm a STEM specialist for this whole school, I'm like, how am I going to get 750 cardboard rolls? But the good thing is you can reuse them even when you take them and even make marble runs and all those kind of things. They are good to be reused between classes. So I don't have to have exactly 750 if I'm not expecting the students to take them home. But I enjoy for them to take it home because I want them to continue learning at home and try the challenge again and try it with their family as well and teach someone else, which is the highest level of learning. So
I did notice that in some of the activities that you shared, that you were very mindful. You were very mindful in the materials that you choose for that exact purpose. And I thought, my goodness, isn't she a smart woman?
I think it's important to do that. Like, I think that we as educators, we try to use the fancy latest, all the bells and whistles and things like that. But I think there's a case for making it simple, because when you give kids a picture of something they can do, they will replicate it at home. So you want it to be something that is either free or low cost. And, you know, I work with kids who, income wise, their families may not have the same income as other families do. And so I want it to be tangible for them. Not something that they have to go out to the store to buy, but something they can easily just do on their own, even without, you know, bothering whoever they happen to live with. They can find a cardboard roll or a piece of paper or coins or something simple around the house.
100%. Does this also come from your time that you spent? Didn't you spend time educating adults in learning English?
Yes, I did. I'm just so impressed on how you all research. Yes, I did. I was teaching English as a second language to parents and caregivers. I did that for about 6 years, and so I really enjoyed it. It took my background. I have a certification in ESL, and so I think that it's so important to keep things simple and practical and within people's reach, not so far out that they can't replicate it. Not everyone has a Sphero at home or a Dash robot, but everybody has a cardboard roll of some kind.
I love that so much.
Thank you.
And I don't think I've ever drawn cardboard before. I think this is my first time drawing cardboard. So
that is awesome. I like it.
I have my cardboard badge now.
Yes, and I like how you put both of those on the cardboard roll together, home and school, because there's such a connection between home and school. And my years in family engagement really woke me up to that, and how we as classroom teachers so focused on our standards and what we do.
Wait for her to come back. Uh-oh.
I know, we didn't have any issues before.
Today and our...
Oh, Ekuwah, can you start from when you were talking about your the standards? We lost.
Oh, there we are.
Yeah, we lost you for a minute.
Oh, okay, I'm back.
You're back.
Sorry.
You were at standards.
Oh, I was at standards. Yeah, I'm like, we focus so much on the standards and making sure that we do those things. We're just focused on checking those boxes that we taught the things, but we can extend our lessons so much more and get our kids passionate about learning, which is the main goal. We want them to be lifelong learners, so we want to ignite that passion for wanting to learn more on their own because they chose to, not because someone forced them to. So if you can make it fun and hands-on and very tangible for them, they will do it because they're naturally curious.
Agreed, 100%. I like that approach a lot. It's like it's being sneaky but not sneaky, right? Like, so it's like you're tapping into what you know will connect them with something.
Absolutely.
But making them feel like it's driven by them.
Absolutely. And many of them see it as play. Like, I have the fun class. We play in her class. But behind that play is deep, deep learning that they don't even realize.
I 100% agree. I teach middle school, and I agree with you. As much play as I can get into the classroom, there's just a ridiculous amount of skills that are embedded in play. You know. Yes,
it's just changing our educator mindset, because many times we teach the way we were taught, and we were taught through, in Ghana, they call it chew and pour, where the teacher just pours everything out the kids sit there and take it in. But here, it's so much different if you change your mindset on teacher as facilitator, and I'm going to set the conditions. I heard this recent phrase I really like. I don't know who to attribute it to, but they said it's not the gardener who makes plants grow. The gardener makes the conditions for the plants to grow. And that's what we as teachers are doing. We're trying to set those conditions. So through our questioning, through our activities, we can get our students to grow. It's not all about what we say.
I love that.
I do too.
And by the way, I have my doodle stuff ready. I have my colored pencils, and I don't think you can see it, but this is Joy, or Dr. Joy. I don't know if you can see that better, but
right there.
Maybe too much glare.
That's okay. You've got a lot of color pencils there.
Yeah, colored pencils. And then I have my, I love anchor charting. So I have my Mr. Sketch markers here as well.
Nice.
And then I have this fun thing. I just had to plug this in here because I just got it. I'm so excited. I watched a little too much of the home edit on Netflix. So I got this carousel thing with all my Sharpies and things in here. So this is my little happy creative place too.
Oh,
so.
We love it. So hopefully you'll have a minute to draw. There have been moments on Doodle and Chat where we spend so much time chatting. The hour goes by and our guest is like, I didn't really get that much more than my name on the paper. And so that is okay too.
Okay, I will get started. My page is currently blank, but I am ready.
Okay. I've got a couple things I can still add while you take some time to get started.
Okay.
And I see Mandy's still drawing too.
Yep.
I have to capture that garden phrase.
I just love that because I think we as educators can really, if we train our mind to think a little bit differently, it'll help us a lot to step back and release that control, because we feel that need to be in control, that need to deliver all this information. But if you think about some of the activities that you're doing just in a little different way, they're so robust and so powerful if you give the kids that student ownership piece.
100%. I teach students who receive supports and services through their individual education plans. And, that mindset can bring great opportunities for students with disabilities or who need accommodations. If we just set the garden to give it the right amount of watering or soil or a different soil or those kind of things, if we're really going to get into analogies, which I love.
Yes. Yes.
We can give opportunities to all the students in our classrooms.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I know Mandy you and I can chat a little bit why Ekuwah gets a chance to draw. You do a lot of hands-on math. I know that that's a big thing for you. We're really making math visual and hands-on. And I think that also lends itself to what Ekuwah was saying.
Absolutely. I try anytime I can to get my students working with the math. And like I said, that class that I was talking about earlier, absolutely love that class. I mean, not only do we do the tiny homes, but we have some coding that we do in there. We do budgeting where they actually have a job and get to set up their budget. I mean, it's a lot of fun. We have a probability unit, which I kind of jokingly call the gambling unit, where we teach kids, which I guess that would be good if you lived in Vegas. But we teach kids like the probability of winning and why, even though you can win sometimes, that the house is still always winning. And then they have to design a game where it's enticing enough for a person to play, like they can win enough, but you still make a profit. And so it's actually a really cool class. I love it. It's one of my favorite classes. And the kids who don't usually like math want to be a part of that class. And I like that too. Yeah.
Yes. And that real world application is so good.
Yes.
Making it relevant to them, and that why is just crystal clear to them. So
yep. Awesome. Yeah.
Do we think we're ready for another question?
I say let's go for it. Ekuwah can catch up with us.
I'm ready. Let's
go.
go.
There you go. Oh, it's a nice big long question.
Meeting YouTubers, visiting the National Museum of Ghana, seeing animals at the Accra Zoo, and celebrated your 24th wedding anniversary were all just some of the fun you had in Ghana this summer. What was your favorite part of this 3-week trip?
Oh, to narrow down my 3-week trip, that would be really difficult. But I have to immediately say, going to the waterfall, Obatica Falls, was, I have a thing for waterfalls. They melt my heart. Like, there's something about them that are just so majestic and so beautiful and relaxing and refreshing. And I was able to get my feet wet and to actually make it to the waterfall because I had researched on YouTube. I heard that there's somewhere between 20 and 30 waterfalls in Ghana. And I had written them all down, and traveling there is a little bit difficult. The roads and some of the off-roading that you're going to do to get to these waterfalls. So when we were able to make it to the Obatica Falls, it was bigger than anything I've ever seen. It was my first, like, I would say legit real waterfall. We have a waterfall in Vegas that I went to in the desert off of Mount Charleston, but there was nothing compared to the one in Ghana. It was majestic, and oh, that was the highlight of my trip. I was so jazzed to get there.
I think this is a second first for me. I don't think I've ever drawn a waterfall.
Me either. I was
Wow.
struggling for a minute. Like, I had to really think about what that was going to look like.
The only reason I know how it looks is because I saw the picture of Ekuwah and her husband at the waterfalls. So I do have a visual to hang on to.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was just so amazing. And I definitely, each time I go, I want to find a new waterfall to go to and explore those. And it wasn't too bad of a hike to get to it, which was good. And I just couldn't imagine how amazing it really is in person. The pictures just don't do it justice.
They are pretty breathtaking. I haven't been to many. I've been to Niagara, and I've been to the one, there's a really big one in Yellowstone that I've been to. They are breathtaking.
Yes,
You know, they're
I
just,
definitely want to do Niagara too.
they have a life of their own, you know?
Mm-hmm. And you just wonder, you just sit in awe while you're there. Where is all this water coming from? And it just keeps flowing. It doesn't overflow. I'm like, wouldn't this place flood out with the sheer volume of water? But no, and it was approachable too, you know, just a few steps and I was able to get fairly close to it. I wasn't prepared to swim, so I didn't dress for that, but I just wanted to take it in. I just wanted to take it in, and
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And we have Nilan is here. She's a regular for Doodle and Chat. Hello, Nilan. I think we're ready for another one.
No?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Oh, and my sister Ekuwah is here too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us about the reading log that went viral.
The reading log that went viral. Let's start by calling it not a reading log, because
You're right. Yes.
Yes, because it got that name, but it's not a log. Because I really want to clarify, I do not want to be associated with reading logs where people have to write down titles and minutes and authors and all that stuff that becomes so monotonous. And I heard a funny thing that this is the first time children are taught to lie.
I lied. I was saying to kids reading log, and they never read. They would read, but not when the teacher wanted to read. I would lie.
Exactly. The parent is lying, the child is lying, or if they're telling the truth, then it becomes such a chore. People hate it, and so no, I don't want it to be called that. I like to think of it more like a menu, and I wish I could put it out there. And when I shared it with the district, they call it 100 Ways to Raise a Reader.
Yes.
And what I intended behind it was there are so many ways to encourage kids and families to enjoy reading together. or for kids to enjoy reading, that they don't just have to every day get home and sit on the couch and read. Sit and read. But there's lots of ways to tuck in reading. And one of the things I used to share with families in my workshop was, it has to be a part of your lifestyle. So really what that menu is lots of different ways to make it a part of your lifestyle. Read at breakfast. Turn on the closed captioning on your TV. Read by the poolside if you're traveling. You can read with a stuffed animal. Read with a pet. You can read with a grandparent, a neighbor. Read with your sibling. Read with babies. I mean, there's lots of different things of ways to make it creative, because sometimes I think as families are used to just sit and read. But sometimes just having a little idea on how to shake it up, and you can take that log and turn it into menu and turn it into like a bingo board or some other way of, holding yourself accountable for finding something else when your kids are bored. Hey, let's read in the bathtub. Let's read in a tent tonight. Let's read as we're eating dinner or we're eating a snack. Let's read at the park together. Catch some fresh air. All those different things. Read in planes, trains, and automobiles. Take a book with you on the plane that we can read together. And then also the other part of the menu is what counts as reading, because many people are rigid, like it just has to be a chapter book. It just has to be a picture book. But on that menu, it encourages families to choose, like, read a graphic novel, read a comic book, read your newspaper, read anything, and everything counts for reading. So it's kind of like, just mix up your diet. Don't eat the same thing all the time. I think Kwame Alexander says it's kind of like going to an amusement park is what it should feel like. How are you gonna what are you gonna ride today? And enjoy your reading that way.
I love that.
That speaks to my mama's heart too, because I had 3 children that had a huge passion for reading, and I had a son who loved to read, but read slowly. Read well, but read slowly. And because he was a slow reader, but still a good reader, he couldn't get through the books as quickly as he needed to. But he was always forced to pick those books that didn't interest him or were too big for him. Like thickness wise, because it was where he needed to be. And so when people speak to this, it just makes me so happy to know that we're bringing awareness to it, because he loved to read. It's just he didn't necessarily love to read what he was being told he had to.
Exactly. My daughter is the same way. She only prefers graphic novels. If the book can come in graphic novel form, she's great. But chapter books and things, she just checks out with, and I'm all for it. I'm like, okay, what's the next graphic novel? Let's check it out. And so, it's about finding what turns your kid on for reading, whatever that might be. If it's graphic novels, read all the graphic novels. And then when she's tired of that and she's into cookbooks or magazines, get those. So just have a little sampling, and that's the whole key piece to it, is finding what works for your child and then mixing it up so it doesn't get boring.
I love that. Yeah. And then the menu that, when I was looking at the menu too, you're also then, and it goes along with what you do in your STEM class too, you're creating moments with the family. So you're hooking reading into this really positive experience that gives a moment and a connection that families can remember. And that makes the learning and the reading more joyful. So that's, it just makes it that much better.
Absolutely. Well, and then another piece for my family engagement days is much of family engagement is invisible to schools. There are parents who absolutely, the vast majority, I think the percentage is way over 90% of families truly care about their kids, want the best for their kids, and are doing things that the school teacher may never, ever see. Mm-hmm. So if we can tap and give them some ideas, and that time we don't see the natural everyday family life, not turning parents into teachers, as Dr. Pashore says, we're not turning them into teachers, but taking those natural, authentic, meaningful, everyday family experiences and showing them how you can just twist it just a little bit, and it's going to boost your child academically. It's not the fancy workbook, but taking time to read together and enjoy reading and making it a habit of your family.
I love that. All right, what do you think, kid? You got another one for us?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Random one. What are 2 of your favorite snacks?
Oh.
I just shared this with my students. My first go-to would be gummy bears. I love Haribo. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it.
Yep.
But I really like Haribo gummy bears. They are my fave. And then the other snack, I would say I also like, I don't know if it's a snack, but it's candy. But I really like Reese's Pieces. I like popcorn. So that's another snack. And I like pickles.
I love pickles.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm not a good gummy bear drawer. Now I have a mission. I want to learn how to draw a gummy bear. What are the legs like? They don't have legs, right? It's all tucked in. It's all.
Yeah, they're kind of like, yeah.
So my oldest loves gummy bears too. Did you get there was a summer pack. What was the special one? It had a pineapple, or was it blue, or a birthday celebration one?
Oh, wow. I missed out.
I think it had
They
something.
had birthday hats.
Oh, it had birthday hats in it. Yeah.
I'm kind of a traditional Haribo pack. I like the hard ones more than the soft ones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I know I keep pulling this back to my classroom, but you keep speaking to things that remind me of this. So I teach statistics, and one of the things that we do is we do an experiment with gummy bears when we're talking about chi-square tests. And we always compare the Haribo to another brand. And my kids are always like, why do you bring the gross ones? Like, why don't you just give us the good ones? I'm like, well, because you have to compare them to something. So we tried the ones this last year. It was like they were supposed to be healthier for you. And they were horrible. They were absolutely horrible. The kids were like, we can't eat those. I'm like, I don't like you. I also can't eat those. They were bad.
No. Haribo to me are the best. I don't like any of the generic ones. Just can't do it.
Now I like Black Forest.
Black Forest?
Black Forest gummy bears. And so in my stats class, we have discovered the Black Forest are not too bad. And some of my kids actually prefer the Black Forest to the Haribo. But for the most part, the Haribo wins. So
well, I'll have to try the Black Forest. I don't know if I've actually had those or not. But I like that you do that with your higher level math classes, because those hands-on, I'm all about realia, and those lessons are the ones that stick with them. They remember those experiences. And there's a phrase, and I'm sorry, I don't know who to attribute this to. No, it's Montessori, I think. What the hand touches, the mind remembers. And I saw this great gesture, like, I'll do it so the camera can see it, but like it goes from your hand to your brain. So I like that you do that with them, and those lessons stick more because they've touched something, they've interacted with something. And when we look at that brain research, and we know so much more about the brain than when we first started teaching about what works and what sticks with kids. And those lessons where you have tangible pieces are just absolutely invaluable.
I completely agree with you. That is exactly how I teach stats. It's all experiences. I don't know why that word wouldn't come out. It's all experiences. We collect data every single day.
Awesome.
Based on them, and then we develop our lesson around the data that we've collected. So they're learning, but they're using their own information to do it.
That is awesome.
Struggling with my pickle there for a minute.
I know. I had to, when I drew it, I was like, make sure it looks like a pickle, Carrie.
Yep.
I like how you have all those things layered together, and I like how you're doing it on the iPad. It's so amazing to see, or maybe that's some kind of device.
Nope.
I don't know.
That is the iPad, yeah.
That's really cool. I like the layering and how you put everything together. That's amazing.
All right, what do you think, kid? I think we're ready for another one.
Wow.
I know, we're speedy today.
What would you name your boat if you had one?
My boat, if I had a boat. Oh. Wow, that's a tough one. I would probably say wow. I would probably name my boat because boats are usually. I'm trying to think of the convention people usually use. They use like names and stuff for boats.
Yeah, they use like they'll either use like a silly play on words, or sometimes they'll name it after a loved one, or something like that. I think, right, Mandy?
I think so, yeah. I don't own a boat, but I think so.
I would probably call mine Send Help. If I want a boat, you better send help. I'm not much of a swimmer or a fisherman, so if for some reason I happen to be caught on a boat, probably send help. And my sister, who's in the chat, she can tell you a story of when I was young, and I was on a boat in Missouri because Mandy will tell you we have lots of lakes in Missouri, and I traumatized her as a young girl because I was screaming the entire time to take me back.
Oh, no.
I was so scared. So, yeah, I'm not much of a boat person. So I'd probably call it Send Help.
Send help.
Yes. Yeah. I did redeem myself, I do have to say. A few years ago, we went back to Missouri, and a friend of mine has a boat, and I wanted my kids to be able to have an experience because, we live in Las Vegas, and apart from Lake Mead, there's not really much boating going on out here. And I wanted them to have an experience like I had growing up, but better. And it was a pontoon boat when I was little, and the front of the boat kept catching wind and going up, and I thought, for sure this boat is going to flip over or I'm going in the water somehow. So that's why I was crying the whole time. But a few years ago, my friend had a different kind of boat, I think more like a fishing boat. And we had a much more positive experience. And I was able to hide my fear for the children.
That's impressive.
Well, I don't know about other lakes, but Missouri lakes get crazy. I mean, you got boats and you've got your jet skis, and we got a lot going on.
A lot going on.
So
I've been to Lake Havasu out here in Arizona, and that is a crazy place. There are lots of speed boats, and the water is just congested with boats. So, that was totally different for me.
Oh my gosh.
So, Ekuwah, can we get a peek at what you've been doodling? Are you?
Oh, sure. Sure. Let me put my little heart here, and then I will let you see what I've got going on. So I put my name. Oh.
Here we go.
Here we go. Oh, let's see. How do we fix the glare here? Maybe
There we
that's
go. Perfect.
Oh, I like it.
So
Those
I
are
have my
great
little
letters.
waterfall, and then I was going to put little attributes about myself in each of my letters. And then I have the waterfall I attempted there. And then this was kind of the experience this summer. The waterfall was behind us, and then there was a little rock shortly in front of us. And that's my husband and I there. We were celebrating our 24th year. So that's what I've got so
That
far.
is fabulous. I love that. I love how you took your name and wrapped things in there. Mandy and I have done a Doodle and Chat activity like that. That would be a fun one to do with friends, is to take their name and
Yes.
that.
And you had really good
Yeah.
letters. Bubble letters are like, the chunky letters are hard to do, and yours look really good.
And
Oh,
she has
thank
the right
you.
amount of she has the right amount of letters, and they're the right letters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so starting with the math piece, I like what you were talking about, the math piece. And, my background is in literacy. And years ago, I had a job change that required me to become an instructional coach. And I had to coach teachers on math. And that was one of the biggest things that clicked with me, is the hands-on piece and the concrete, representational, and abstract. And I really honed in on the concrete and how we don't use manipulatives nearly as much as we could to switch that thinking. And so, yeah, I really like that piece.
I completely agree. And I love the tangible part of it, but I tell people all the time, even digitally, like, you can still give them the manipulatives they can use even in a digital environment to still have them interact and do it. So even if you can't meet face to face with them, you can still make it hands-on. You can still let them experience it. And I think it's so important.
It's so important. And there's so many ways to bring math to life and make it more visual, more hands-on, more engaging for everyone. And my biggest thing is, if I'm not having fun, how can I expect the kids to have fun?
Right.
So that's really why, it can sound selfish, but I'm like, I'm going to make sure I have fun today. So we're going to be playing, we're going to be drawing, we're going to be moving. I'm not going to sit here and be bored. And I don't have a voice that I want to sit there and talk all day either. So I'm going to turn it over and set those conditions for you to just flourish, I hope.
Yeah, agreed. Mandy and I would 100% agree.
Yes.
I think we have time for another one. Yeah. Rocking and rolling tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Another big one. From your mom and dad to your grandfather to the letter from your first grade teacher, the importance and value of education has been a part of your life from an early age. Why did you want to be a teacher?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, I suppose, because my grandfather was a speechwriter for the president of Ghana back in the day. And so he was a big reader and a big writer. My father is a big reader and writer as well. And both of my parents were teachers at the university, professors at the university. And so I grew up sitting in the back of my mom when she was doing freshman orientation. I would go to class with her. They led Bible study. I went with them. My dad, also had a church. So I always saw my parents speaking and teaching all the time. That's just where I grew up. And so I didn't actually, I also had several cousins. My dad is the oldest of 9 kids. So I have a lot of younger cousins. And when we got together at our house for family reunions or holiday gatherings, my sister and I would always plan things for our cousins to do when they came over. So we would plan games and crafts and draw pictures and do all of that good stuff with the younger cousins while the adults, talked or conversated or whatever. And so when I went to college, I actually originally planned to do higher education, like my parents did. But then I switched because I thought, you know what, I'm more crafty and I like my picture books and stuff. So I decided to do elementary education, and that got me into teaching.
Nice. Mandi, I don't know that we've ever talked about why you got into teaching.
Why did I get into teaching?
Yeah.
So I'm one of those that I was drug into teaching, kicking and screaming because I said from the beginning I did not want to be a teacher. I did not want to be a teacher. I did not want to be a teacher. And I went to college, took math classes, but my family kind of had expectations of me to do something else. Like they always had an idea about what I should do, and it was never anything I was very passionate about, which is why I think I always just said I'm not going to be a teacher, because for some reason that just wasn't in their plans for me. And so I'm taking all of these other random weird classes, which is why I was on the 5-year plan, because I have a lot of undergraduate credits in my search for what I wanted to do. But I was always taking these math classes, and it got to the point where they were like, hey, can you help us in the academic center to tutor for some of these math classes? And I loved it. Like, I absolutely loved helping people. And the whole time I'm still like, I was an architecture major at the time, had already applied to go to architecture school and was accepted and was planning to do all of this. But I really liked helping people. Oh. And when it came down to it, I actually met a guy. I will be married to him 30 years this year. And decided not to go to architecture school and stayed and changed my major to teaching. And I've never, ever regretted that I did that. So
wow.
That's awesome.
That's awesome for sure.
So it wasn't a short story. Sorry.
That's okay.
That was great.
Let me just wreck my book with another extra line. That's okay.
And what about you, Carrie? Why did you get into teaching?
So when I was in 5th grade, we had some of the students who received services through their IEP that were more severe, some physical. I don't think we really called it autism back then, but for sure, like when I look back at it, they were really their autism really impaired their learning, and they needed a lot of support. And so I was a very proud patrol. And one of the things the patrols got to do was help the kids off the bus and walk them to their, they were in the mobile homes, which like you think about it now, and it was like, we did that, you know? But I was, you know, a chatty person in 5th grade, and I chatted up the teacher, and she taught summer school, and I'm like, can I come help you during summer school? So I would ride my bike to her class.
Wow.
During the summer. And I knew in 5th grade that was, you know, that was what I wanted to do, was to be a teacher who supported students with special needs. So yeah.
That's fantastic.
And yeah, I've known for a really long time what I wanted to do. I remember sitting in high school and being like, can I just be done? Because I already know what I want to do. I don't need to do this. I just need to learn how to be a teacher. Let's get a move on, people. I started to draw something and now I changed my mind. Oh, well.
I think that's why it makes me so happy, because I will have students, especially now with the education profession, sadly, how it's looked down upon. But I will have kids who will tell me, I really want to be a teacher. And it makes my heart so happy, because it really does take somebody who is passionate about kids. It takes somebody who is passionate about wanting to do what's best for the kids. And like, you have to be there in order to stick it out in this profession. Like, you have to be there. And that's what kids need too. And so I know when I see them in high school, because I teach high school, and they're like, this is what I want to do. I'm like, we're going to get a good teacher out of this. So
yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, and you all are bringing to mind, like, another piece for me was I wanted to be a representation for when I was growing up. I only had one teacher in my whole K through 12 experience that was African American, and he was a phenomenal art teacher, Mr. Collins. May he rest in peace. For anyone in Missouri who's watching this, he was a big inspiration for me, because if you can see behind me, those little, next to my books on this side, these little dolls right here, they're called Ekuwah dolls. And I remember sitting in his class in 4th grade and him showing a projector, whatever they used to call those things back in the day, projectors.
Overheads.
Yeah. And he was showing pictures of them and talking about them. And it clicked with me because my family is from Ghana and those Ekuwah dolls are from Ghana as well. And so I felt seen. I felt, connected with him on a whole different kind of level that many kids, may not have realized how much that just clicked with me. And we made masks that year and I just felt so connected with him. And so I did want to give that piece to students too, to be able to have a teacher who looks like them, who, that representation piece is just so huge. Not only do I look like them, but, I have some of the same experiences they have and some of the things that they go through, I have also been through as well. So we can kind of connect on that level too. So I did want to be there for that reason as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think we're ready. I think we can fit a couple more in.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. What are your favorite everyday things to create a game out of? Wrapping it back up.
Oh,
Yeah, we use a lot of everyday things to make games. And I would like to know if you have any favorite go-tos for creating games in your classroom.
Well, one that I did at the end of last year was a hit. And at the start of this school year, I asked my kids, my class is engineering, and I said, what did you enjoy about engineering last year? And I had several that I was shocked who said they liked when we used the egg cartons and we played Connect 4 with egg cartons. And no one had ever thought to use an egg carton that way. And then not only did we do the Connect 4 with egg cartons, we also used the egg cartons for a ping pong toss game. You can do a ping pong toss like a tic-tac-toe with ping pong balls. And then also, not only that, using the egg carton, you can put some pre-slugged numbers in it and use it for math as well. So keeping score on, if I landed on 10 or 20 or whatever it is, and keeping score that way. So ping pong egg cartons would be one of my favorite ones to make. Next to the cardboard roll, of course. Take out some stock in cardboard rolls because, they can be used for bowling, for ping pong toss, for all kinds of things. Marble runs would be my favorite game as well to play with my students.
Yeah, I noticed that you have clear egg cartons. I don't know that I've seen those in Illinois.
Oh, wow.
When I saw that, I was like, that's genius.
Yeah, the Costco.
Oh, maybe I don't usually go there. I would have to check that.
Oh, okay. Costco or even Walmart has the small ones, but Costco has the big ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So those are the two things in my house people know they cannot throw away are the egg cartons and
eggs and use things that have cardboard.
Yes. So I added some flowers to my letter. Oh, let me move that light again. I added some flowers to the K because I think it's important to plant those seeds, and we might plant those seeds. We might not be the person who harvests, but we can keep planting those seeds and it will yield growth somewhere. So
beautiful.
Yeah.
I think sometimes that's one of the hardest things about, not the hardest, maybe a little bit, is that, we always have that hope, I think, as educators, that you know, even if we don't see it blossom now, that it will at some point because we've planted that seed. But we just have to always have to trust that it's going to happen. You know, we don't always get to see our work.
I was very happy this year. A friend of mine, Heidi Carr, encouraged me to ask the students at the beginning of the year, what did you enjoy about last year? What do you hope to do this year? And their responses showed me I did plant a whole lot more seeds than I realized. The range of their answers, because I started at this school in October. And so from October to May, and this is my first time being in a specialist position, you know, where I see everybody in the school. I've never had a position like that. And so I didn't know what would stick, and I didn't know what the kids would remember because I only see them every 6 days. So I'm like, does the specialist really make impact? And let me tell you, we do. And the kids remember. And again, I think it goes back to all of those. Every time they came to me, we did something hands-on. We always did some kind of challenge. I took them through the engineering design process in some shape, form, or fashion. And so I really learned a lot. The specialists, yes, they do remember, even though they don't see you every 6 days. And they remember over the summer, because they named nearly every single challenge that we did from October through May. Some student, between the 750 that I asked, some student mentioned them. Wow. Okay.
No, I agree with you. I think when when there's talk about, you know, saving money and their first thought is to reduce the arts or the extras, that should always be the last thing that goes, because those moments, those are the teachers that they remember because of the hands-on experiences they get through all those classes. They're just really powerful for kids.
They are. And what the specialists teach are so intertwined. Art is in everything. There's also a quote about art without engineering. Engineering without art is calculating. And it goes into another part, is just dreaming. But anyway, art is an extremely important part of engineering, as well as the musical piece. I was just brainstorming with our music teacher today about, she had a student who was really turned on and fascinated by the history of the recorder. And she was talking about teaching them how that's a part of engineering as well, because we could engineer musical instruments, and talking about how we can collaborate between our two departments on how we could bring that to life for the kids. And she was talking about the rain stick that she has in her room and how she had it has different materials in there. And I said, well, that would be cool for a sound box. And she's like, oh yeah, auditory discrimination. My mom was a speech therapist, and she talked about auditory discrimination. And I thought, in engineering would be great because we can use toothpicks and we can figure out what material would be the best for this and figure out where to put those so that way the things can fall through smoothly. And so many things, could go into it. So we're all connected. And the more we see that, we'll give our students a more holistic education when we see how we go together than everything fitting in this little box, reading, math, science, social studies, but everything is connected in some way. So
agreed. And for some of those students, connecting in those classes brings the other classes together, the harder maybe sometimes even.
Absolutely.
It does. And because first of all, in my math class, I incorporate art. We write, like my students write books in the math classroom. Of course, we have math in it as well. But I think it's so important to show them that just because we're in a math class, it's not just math. But the second part of that, and I think it's probably something that, Carrie touched on it, like that's the first thing that we cut when it's really not the first thing that we should cut. But I was talking to one of my teacher friends today at school, and she says, it's the first year that I don't have to teach a class that the kids have to take. And I'm so excited because I have freedom to make this a class that they're going to want to be in and want to enjoy. And that really has, and after you said that, I'm like, it even brought it back to my mind. That really makes me wonder where our focus has gone wrong, like with these classes that they have to take, and how we just don't have the freedom to make it enjoyable and something that they want.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree. I think and especially especially in the content classes like reading and math, we give teachers a textbook and we say, you know, you have to teach this. And then we give them this list of standards and you have to teach this. And the two have to go together. So your standards are supposed to match how the textbook is aligned. And then we get so stuck in a box, and people are so afraid of, you know, if a teacher doesn't have the mindset behind this, then that's not going to happen for their students. But I think that if you obviously give teachers the opportunity to have that creative autonomy, and that's what I love about my position, is I have an administrator who believes in me and has given me creative autonomy to say, bring those engineering standards to life. What materials do you need? I'm behind you 100%. And she comes in and she hangs out with the kids and she's learning in the process too. She enjoys that freedom. So I love that. And I think it takes having an administrator with that mindset of, I'm going to trust my teachers to create those conditions. And so, you know, how you frame that professional learning and those experiences, you know, I have grown over time. I'm not the same person I was when I first started. I'm still learning. I'm still buying books all the time. I'm on Twitter all the time. I'm in Facebook groups looking at what other teachers are doing, and I'm learning and I'm growing. And my administrator is growing right alongside with me, and she likes to hear what I've learned. And she's not intimidated by that, which I think is the big piece. You know, don't be intimidated by the teacher next door. Collaborate with the teacher next door. Learn and grow and have those conversations, and then have the freedom to make those mistakes and experiment and see what works and see what doesn't work, and what works for your students, what's sticking with them. I think a lot of times we don't ask the kids what they want to do or what they enjoyed. We're so convinced on what we like. This is just amazing. Oh my goodness. You both are so amazing.
Well, we love what we do here and in the classroom, I would say.
That is just awesome.
Well, my page is full, Mandi. I don't know about you.
My page is also full.
My page is not full, but since it's about me, I feel a little weird. But I did start the U, and I wanted to show that, you know, we put those pieces together, and learning is so beautiful. I was going to add some more pieces, like a beautiful mosaic.
Nice.
We're not a melting pot, but we're a beautiful mosaic, like Jimmy Carter says. And so I totally believe that. I think we need to take our skills and assets and talents that, you know, teachers bring to the classroom, students bring to the classroom, families bring it to classroom, and we work together for student achievement. So, yeah.
I can't think of a better way to end it for what you just said. You know, I think that's probably one of the missing pieces in education right now, is really trusting teachers to bring a piece of themselves into the classroom to really make it that much more special, you know?
Absolutely.
And really enhance teaching even
more. It does.
more.
And the test scores will show too, because the kids are excited about learning. So,
and educators will be happy because we will be fulfilled as well, you know?
Absolutely. And we come to work enjoying what we do. Yeah, we're still tired. So
yes,
is important.
We can talk about that. We are still tired.
I'm not going to sugarcoat things. I mean, we are exhausted, but it's great.
Yeah. But I also think, you know, it also, wrapping up what you said too, the more we can bring what we love to the classroom, we'll get fulfilled by doing that. But then the success we will have will increase the amount of risks we want to take, and, you know, and honing our craft and making it even better. And that's just going to amplify everybody's experience, right?
Absolutely. Everybody.
Yes.
All stakeholders.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ekuwah, for being with us tonight. This was the best way for me to end my Wednesday night here with you and Mandi, and all of our Doodle and Chat friends that come here and join us every Wednesday night when we doodle and chat together. If you were here, friends, and you doodled and chatted with us, share your Doodle and Chat out on Twitter and use hashtag Doodle and Chat so Ekuwah can see it. And when would you like to pick a winner by? Do you want to do it at the end of the week? Whatever is the best time for you.
Yeah, I would say so. I think the end of the week is just fine. I think that's great.
Okay, so we'll say like Friday by midnight.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so today, is that the 19th? Yes.
Yeah, and I put my Twitter handle there, so just you can tag me or tag
Perfect.
yeah.
Perfect.
And I will be happy to share Mama's portraits of me.
Yes, it will be wonderful for someone. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great night, and we'll see everybody back here next Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Bye.
Bye.